here's the thing. In film school, I saw Network. I mean, let's talk Lumet. You just said Lumet.
Right.
Sydney. Serpico is a funny movie. Dog Afternoon is funny.
That's right.
Network, oh my God. There's always been great films that had very serious subject matter and humor. But
Right.
here's the key, especially young filmmakers. You have to get the right balance.
Hello, and welcome back to The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America. Today's episode features the DGA Special Projects Committee's recent event, The Craft of the Director, Spike Lee. This series of conversations with master filmmakers features an in-depth discussion about the directing process, from pre-production through post. Mr. Lee's many directorial credits include the feature films She's Gotta Have It, Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, Chirac, and To Five Bloods, the feature documentary Four Little Girls, and episodes of the series She's Gotta Have It. He was nominated for the DGA's Feature Film Award for his 2018 feature Black Klansman, and was awarded with the DGA Honors in 2002. Please enjoy Mr. Lee's conversation with fellow director and frequent collaborator John Turturro in front of a virtual audience, wherein they discuss how he drew inspiration for She's Gotta Have It from Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon and Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless, and how he works to find the balance between humor and drama in his films.
Turturro!
Hey, Mr. Spike, Mr. Lee. So I'm talking
How
to
you
you
doing?
from London.
How's London town?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm filming with my mask on and off, and we're doing all right.
Yeah, I'm speaking to you from the world headquarters of 40 Acres and Mule in the People's Republic of Brooklyn, New York.
All right.
You're a resident also.
That's right. I send my love to Brooklyn.
You're next neighborhood over. Next neighborhood.
I'm in within walking distance.
Yes, we want to determine what neighborhood, but you're close. You're close to Fort Greene.
Very close. So, okay, so now I'm going to be the moderator here. So I'm going to be like David Susskind. So I have a lot of questions that they gave me to ask you. And I guess the first question.
Where are your questions? You can't be reading just what they
Yeah, but I'll riff off. I'm going to riff off those questions. So, yeah.
You're going to freestyle?
I'll freestyle a little bit without rhyming. I'm not Lin-Manuel Miranda, man. So
or Biggie.
Or Biggie, yes.
Come on.
I am from Hollis, so that's from that's the original.
Run DMC LL.
Right.
All right.
Okay. All right. So there you go. Okay. Anyway, the first question I ask you is what kind of, I guess everyone must, no matter what director it is, how they became a director, or what inspired you to think, well, yeah, you know what, I like to be in charge of this, you know what I mean? Or was there a person or something within your childhood that gave you the inclination of like, wow, that would be the right thing for me to do. Well, that's what I want to do.
Well, the seed was planted by my late mother, Jacqueline Shelton Lee. She was a cinephile, loved movies. And my father, who's still with us, hated Hollywood movies.
Right.
So John, since I was the eldest, I was my mother's movie date.
Mm.
And so, but my mother was taking me to not just movies, but the Broadway plays and museums. And my father was taking me to Madison Square Garden. So my love of sports came from my father, and my love of and music, and love of arts, film.
Do you have a film that you remember that you saw with your mother?
My mother took me to Radio City. This is a crazy story. My mother took me to Radio City Music Hall Easter Sunday to see Bye Bye Birdie. And it wasn't until after a couple years after Do the Right Thing, it clicked that Rosie Perez dancing and Do the Right Thing came from Anne Margaret.
Well, Anne Margaret is
in open credit sequence.
right.
Remember, that came out
Absolutely.
63. I was 63.
60. Yeah,
No. I was
both-
6 years old. I was 6 years old.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But it came out
Me too.
63.
Right. That's right. Wow.
So it must have been stuck way deep in my cranial.
Well, that I have to say, I mean, I'm not going to go into those are like two of my favorite sequences because I saw that movie too. I saw it not at Radio City Music Hall. I saw it in a drive-in theater with
Driving where?
In somewhere in Queens.
John, I've never been to a drive-in to this summer in my life.
Really? In your life?
Martha's Vineyard. I saw Jaws in Martha's Vineyard. And I introduced Do the Right Thing and The Inside Man. But I never been to a drive-in in my life till this summer, to this pandemic summer. See, you live in Queens. There ain't no drive-ins in Brooklyn.
Yeah, well, that's right. We didn't have them in Hollister, but they were in another neighborhood, like in Valley Stream. You'd have to drive out there. So.
Is Valley Stream, Long Island?
Yeah, but we lived in Rosedale. We moved from Hollister.
I know, but where's the drive-in though?
The drive-in was in Valley Stream.
So you went to Long Island?
Yeah, that's right. Well, Queens is part of Long Island anyway. But wow, that's really fascinating.
John, you know what? The people are like, I hope John and Spike don't get into this New York shit. We're never gonna get.
Well, that's just too bad. That's too bad.
Too bad, right?
Yeah, it's too bad. Because Queens is way further away from Manhattan, intellectually. Because it's
the outer boroughs, right?
Yeah, it's like it's like.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you count Staten Island?
Staten Island, it was an island, and I still think of it as an island.
You don't count it then. I don't count either.
Well, Staten Island has a fascinating history.
But the only way I only count Wu-Tang. That's it. That's it. Wu-Tang, and other than that, Staten Island.
You're not trying to expand your horizons into Staten Island.
That's all right.
So okay, so
that's really that's a true story.
Wow.
And it wasn't until a couple years after Do the Right Thing, and I teach at NYU, and I had this particular class was about opening credit sequences.
Right.
And when I showed that open credit sequence from Bye Bye Birdie, I said, Eureka!
Well, that really did burn something into your brain.
It did.
And
but I was not aware of it.
Yeah, but that's part of your your DNA, man. It's part of your deep subconscious.
And another funny thing is that I got to tell Anne Margaret on the phone. She enjoyed that story.
Anne Margaret is vastly underrated.
Yeah.
Yes, vastly underrated.
And back in the day, she was fine too.
Oh God, that was one of my first loves, Anne Margaret. I mean, I don't want to get in trouble on this thing right here.
John, did you see me say? Yeah. Keep it on the low.
Well, Anne Margaret.
Keep it on the low.
Well, that's really interesting. Those are two of my favorite, opening sequences. But you have a lot of great opening sequences.
To me, John, and again, another thing, my love of open credit sequences come from James Bond.
Yeah.
My mother would take me to James Bond movies.
Right.
So all this stuff with my mother, I don't know I want to be a filmmaker. I'm 6, 7, 8 years now. I mean, she just take me to the movies. So me being a filmmaker is I'm not even think about that.
Right.
But to get back over the credit sequences, I think that it's this valuable time you have to get the audience in the right mindset.
Right.
I know you contractually you got to do who did this and whatnot, and credits, but I want to use that opportunity, open credit sequence, to get the audience, get their mind right, their mindset. So get in tune with what
Right.
you're about to see.
That's right. Right. Well, you do that quite.
So
potently.
I'll list some I like. Malcolm X, that's good credit, open credit sequence. He Got Game, Jungle Fever. Yeah, I mean, that's enough.
Not Bamboozled. No, you're not. Okay.
Bamboo and end credits.
Yeah.
We had all those blackface figurines.
Right. Well, we'll get to talk about Bamboozled.
Yeah, but when we do that, let's talk about a little bit Thomas Jefferson Bird when we get to Bamboozled.
Okay.
And Clockers too.
And Clockers.
Which
Well,
you were in.
Clockers has a great opening sequence too.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we'll say
You
that.
know, one of the, yeah. I worked with a great cinematographer, a great Italian cinematographer who worked with Fellini and all these movies. And I told you about him, Pasqualino De Santis. I worked with him on the movie La Tregua. And he was, he was the operator on La Dolce Vita and 8.5. And he shot for Visconti and Francesco, Bresson. He was a huge fan of yours. I probably told you this in the 90s.
He passed away?
Yeah, he died in the middle of the movie we were making. He had a heart attack.
On the set?
In his hotel room.
Ooh.
In his hotel room.
God
But he was a huge fan of yours.
Yeah.
And he was like one of those guys that was an older guy. He was in his 70s, but he was really interested in who was doing things that was extending the form. You know what I mean? Because he had worked with all these fantastic directors.
Yeah.
And he really, really, and he loved the opening sequence from Clockers. I remember him talking to me about that.
Now, do you remember how Samhain, he was in the scene with you? He was taking the pictures.
Yeah.
That was his job.
Right.
To take pictures of dead bodies.
Right.
So he let me look in the book, and so those photographs you see in open credit sequence are based upon the real homicide photographs which he took.
Right.
And that was some gruesome stuff.
Yeah. I rode with those homicide guys when we did that movie. Yeah. I was the lucky actor on that movie. Everyone else, nothing ever happened. Every time I went with the homicide squad, there was a murder. Every single time. So what that's
For Clockers?
for Clockers.
Or another movie?
No, for Clockers.
You did it for Clockers?
3 murders I saw. I mean,
Yeah.
the guys were dead already. Yeah. By the 3rd murder, they said you're gonna start taking fingerprints now. I was like, I'm not doing that. No. All right. So now
whoa, hold on. Were the murders in Queens or in Brooklyn?
they were in I think Manhattan, Brooklyn,
The Bronx? Yeah, one in the
in
Bronx.
Yeah. One was a guy who robbed a gas station with a water pistol. And the guy shot him, the guy who ran the gas station. And then of course they were making jokes about it because that's what they're always making jokes.
Steve White. That's where that comes from,
Yeah, that's it. That's how it is. So did you ever think so now you're like kind of you went to school, okay, when you decided, okay, well, I'm going to study film eventually. Right. Did you ever think while you were studying and you say, well, you think, I don't know, man, am I going to make a living at this?
Undergrad or NYU, Morehouse
either
undergrad?
Either one.
NYU.
Either one when you were thinking about it.
I was going to be like from Bed-Stuy, do or die.
Right.
One way or the other. Once I committed, I was like, all in.
Do you remember that moment when you kind of like felt like, say, you know what, this is it, man. This is what I'm not.
It really happened, John, during the summer of that, and you know this, you know what I'm talking about. John, the summer of 1977.
Oh, wow. I remember that summer.
New York City was broke.
Right.
I came back from Atlanta, where Morehouse is, come back to New York to work, and there were no jobs. And one of my dear friends, her name is Vieta Johnson. I went over her house. See, I had nothing to do. I said, let me see what she's doing. When I came over there, she was sitting in the living room studying because she wanted to be. She went to Princeton undergrad, was in Princeton, but she's studying. She's going to be a doctor. So she eventually went to Harvard Med School, and she's a doctor now in Chicago. But anyway, we're sitting in the living room, and I look in the corner, and there's a camera. I said, "What is that?" She says, "The Super 8 camera." I look in the other corner of the apartment, of the living room, and there's a box of Super 8 film. I said, "What is that?" She says, "Super 8 film." I said, "Vieta, what are you doing with that?" I said, "Nothing. I'm gonna be a doctor." She's like, "I have it." "Yeah, take it." True story on my mother's grave. So now I had something to do. So I spent the whole summer running around in this. I mean, New York City in 77, that summer was bananas. We had the blackout.
Blackout.
It was the first summer disco. So on every weekend, there were block parties where the DJs would hook up their turntables and speakers to their turntable. Then you had David Berkowitz.
That's right.
Son of Sam.
That's right.
And then as the spirits of God would have it, I would eventually, many years later, make a movie about that summer.
That's right. That was some summer, man.
Crazy.
Crazy summer. People don't realize the Yankees coming all the way back.
Oh, yeah. I forgot the Yankees out. I left the Yankees out.
Too. You remember the mayoral race? Bella Abza, Percy Sutton, Cuomo, and Koch. There was the four of them.
And that was the summer, the famous Daily News front page, Ford the city, dropped dead.
Right. Yeah, it was a rough city then, man.
I miss New York life. I miss that. I miss 42nd Street. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, there was something about learning to navigate through all of that. It was like real, and it wasn't too.
42nd Street is like Disneyland.
Yeah, no, it's. I miss it too. I have to say, man.
I mean, the people. Their people just were born. Wasn't their era, but they missed it.
Yeah,
as we used to call it the 40 doo-wop.
That's right.
40 doo-wop back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh.
So when you first made like your first movie, right? You did Joe,
no, but that wasn't my first film.
That wasn't your first film?
My first film was the stuff I shot that summer in New York.
Right.
It's called Last Hustle in Brooklyn.
That's your first film.
Yes, and it was my professor. His name is Dr. Herb Eichelberger. Even though I was even though I went to Morehouse, my major was across the street at Clark College, which is now at Clark University.
Right.
And people from Clark always get at me, say, "You always talk about Morehouse. You don't talk about where you got your major from." And Dr. Herb Eichelberger, I went back up to that point. Before I left for that summer, my advisor told me, when you come back after the summer in the fall semester, you have to declare a major. And I said, "Why?" And the person said, "Because you exhausted all your electives."
See that?
So when I came back, I declared mass communications, which is at Clark College. Film, television, journalism, print journalism, and radio. So I was a mass comm major. And I told Dr. Herb Eichelberger, "Doc, I shot all this footage this summer." Because when I was shooting this stuff that summer, I didn't know what. I know I wasn't doing to make a film. It was just had nothing else to do.
Right.
I said, I got all this footage. And he said, why don't you try and make a documentary? I said, okay, that's a good idea. Because I hadn't thought about it.
Right.
And he taught Mondays. He only had his classes were Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And he would come in, Dr. Herb Eichelberger would come in on days he wasn't getting paid for. He would come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays to unlock the film lab so I could edit. Wasn't getting paid for the extra days.
Right.
And he was the one that said, you know, you could be a filmmaker. That's how it happened.
So he just said he saw that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like to say this, John. I think that everybody, not everybody, a lot of people who's successful, doesn't have to be a teacher, but there was one person
Right.
that gave them that encouragement.
That's right.
And it sparks the fire. You only need one.
That's right.
Whether a coach, an acting teacher, whatever.
Right. Right. He says that you can do this.
Because I think that also another one of my many beliefs, Mr. Turturro, I think that we are all given God-given, we all have God-given gifts. But if you're not exposed, you might have a great gift, whatever it is. But if you're not exposed to it,
right,
you're never gonna find out you had that gift. And I'm
right.
not talking about if you're 7 feet, we know you can play a sport, but I'm talking
Right.
about other,
That's right. That's right. That's a big thing in people's lives, having that one person.
It only takes one.
That's right.
And for me, it was Dr. Herb Eichelberger.
Right. Wow.
Because I was not thinking about being a filmmaker. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
Had no idea. My freshman and sophomore year at Morehouse, I was a C plus D minus student. But after I declared a major, my junior, senior years, I was A plus.
Right.
I didn't get any smarter. It's just I was not focused. In my freshman and sophomore year, I was drifting because I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do.
Right.
Didn't have a clue.
Well,
So after I graduated Morehouse, I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. And I knew that the African Americans at that time, you weren't going to work, this route was not working your way up from the mailroom.
right. Right.
So I studied my hero, Jim Jarmusch. Jarmusch was 2 years ahead of me at NYU. Ang Lee was a classmate of mine, class of 82. So was Ernest Dickerson.
Right.
But everybody in my class, underneath this, Jarmusch was our hero. We were way after Scorsese, way after Oliver Stone.
Right.
So we loved them, but we didn't know them.
Right.
But we knew Jarmusch. And so my goal was, look what he did with Stranger in Paradise.
Right.
I knew I had to go the independent route. So I wanted to go to film school. So the top 3 film schools, USC, Southern Cal, AFI, American Film Institute, both in LA, and NYU. To get into USC and AFI, you had to get an astronomical score on the GRE.
Mm-hmm.
I took the GRE. I did not get that astronomical score.
Right.
But thank God for NYU grads, because they knew that standardized testing should not be how you determine where one could be a filmmaker.
Right. Yeah, that's not a great
thank
thing.
God. And then also, I didn't know anybody in LA. I didn't even have my driver's license. At USC, it was like a studio system, may have changed, but back then, everybody didn't get to make a film.
Right.
You had to submit your script, and then the faculty decide.
Right.
NYU, everybody made a film.
And what was the film you made at NYU?
Oh, I did 3.
You did 3.
The first film was a film called The Answer.
Right, to the...
Which is about...
Yes.
But here's something I left out. Like, I'm giving love to USC. I mean, I'm giving love to NYU.
Right.
But at NYU that time, at the end of the year, the faculty would screen films in the theater. It was called the Bijou. And they would kick out half the class.
Right. Right. That's the big thing in grad school. People don't know that. Right.
They would kick out. So the screening, my film was called The Answer. It's about a young African-American filmmaker, a writer-director who's hired by a big Hollywood studio to do a big Hollywood remake of Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation. Right.
And the reason why I did that, because I didn't have a problem, us, the faculty showing Birth of a Nation.
Right.
It should be seen. But they didn't put in historical context. They talked about the great film, and all they talked about was the great filmmaking of D.W. Griffith, sometimes called the father of cinema. I mean, he made up film grammar. That's a fact, no argument. But they left out a lot of shit.
Yeah.
The bigger thing is that the Ku Klux Klan was dormant until Birth of a Nation came out. That gave rebirth to the Klan, which consequently Black people died because of that movie.
Right.
Lynched, burned, whatever you want to say. That was not taught at all. So my film, The Answer, was reaction to that. Anyway, the faculty, look, you know the story?
No, it's just a great story.
So the faculty.
I wish I was there. I wish I was there in that. I was just flying on the wall.
See, they're screening the films, and at the end of each film, each of the student films, you're the first year only, because if you made the cut the first year, you're good for the second and third year. So it's like the Roman Empire, like at the Colosseum, thumbs up or thumbs down. So they saw my film. It's like, he gotta go.
Wow.
And then someone that is still not found out. Somebody said, wait a minute, we can't kick Spike out. They said, why not? We don't like this film. He got to go. And someone said, we already gave him a TA-ship for next year. And the reason why I got the TA-ship, because I worked in the equipment room, and now is the hardest working motherfucker in that equipment room.
Wow.
I mean, I checked out equipment. John, what you tell you? I checked the equipment out. I was busting my ass in that equipment room.
Did you know who that person was? Did you find out?
No, I never been able to find out. A lot of people probably did. But they said we can't kick him out.
Right.
So that's how I stayed for my second and third year.
How many people were watching that film who say we don't want?
I guess with like the faculty, I could find out how many people in the faculty that year,
Yeah.
but I guess like 10 to 15.
Right.
So my second year was a film called Sarah, terrible film. And my thesis film was a film called Joe's Best Side Barbershop,
Yeah.
which won the Student Academy Award.
Right. That's really right.
And then after
I've seen that film. It's really funny.
after I won the Student Academy Award, I was waiting by the phone. True story. I was waiting by the phone because I thought agents, studios, actors would call me because I had won the Student Academy Award. And then, funny thing happens when you wait on people. Well, number one, Brooklyn Union Gas can't wait. They turn the gas off.
Right.
Con Edison don't play. They turned off electricity. So I was sitting in the dark with no gas and no lights. So I can't even see my Student Academy Award. True story.
What did you do?
And then I woke the fuck up and said, yo, you got to do it yourself.
Right.
These motherfuckers ain't calling you.
Right.
They're not checking for you. And this is like before everything's,
Right.
just back in the back. We're talking like 82, 83,
right.
where the only African-American director working regularly was Michael Schultz, who was directing those hit films. Richard Pryor was the biggest star in Hollywood.
Right. I mean, Ozzy did a film. Didn't he do one film?
Yeah, Ozzy directed, but Ozzy was before that. Ozzy
right.
directed films.
Right.
I'm talking that's the generation before me, John. That was Ozzy.
Right. You're right. You're talking about Europe.
Peoples, right. Gordon Parks.
48, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So wow. So you realize that this is the situation. Say, okay, listen, I gotta figure out my way.
Gotcha.
Jim had done an independent movie. You know what I mean?
And then here's the thing. I got off track with that Student Academy Award.
Right.
I got
that can happen. That can happen.
I got big head because otherwise I was on my Jim Jarmusch independent. Let's do it independent. Right. I won that Student Academy Award. I went for the okie doke. I got more. I got bamboozled.
Yeah, you got bamboozled by your statue. Do not worship.
It's a plaque. It's not the Oscar.
Oh, well, mentally it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The
okie doke.
Have you ever gone back and looked at the answer and said,
not in a while. Everybody wants to see that film, but a lot of the music wasn't clear. So
I see.
It's unlocked.
It's unlocked. Okay, you can show it to me one day.
Yeah, I'll show it to you, definitely. Let me know.
Yeah. And so then you had to write a script and kind of piece the whole thing together, right? I mean, no one was gonna give you money for She's Gotta Have It, right?
Well, or you left something out.
Go ahead.
You gotta say, go ahead.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
How did you get to She's Gotta Have It?
Hey, there was another film, John, I'm giving you don't even know about.
Okay.
There was a film before She's Gonna Have It that was a complete cluster. It's a film called Messenger. It's gonna star Lawrence Fishburne. No, Larry, like back then, it was Larry Fishburne.
Right.
It wasn't Lawrence then, not yet.
Before he became Sir Lawrence.
Yeah, it was Larry Fishburne and Giancarlo. I was gonna shoot it the summer of '84. And I had a crew. People turned down jobs to work in this film, and the money never came through. And the people, it was a complete disaster. And so I had to go, go underground, reconfigure, reevaluate. And it was a very humbling experience. I remember after assembling the cast and crew and telling them that there was no money and there's no money for the movie and there's no money for the amount of time you spend pre-production. Right. And at that time, I was staying at my Uncle Cliff's house, my father's brother, who's the father of Malcolm Lee, filmmaker. That's my first cousin.
Right.
When you did, people are saying, "Damn, I didn't know that." Besides you, John, yeah. Damn, I didn't know Malcolm Lee and Spike Lee were first cousins.
Yeah.
You knew that?
Now you know.
Did you know that?
Yeah, of course I knew.
You knew.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was staying in the basement of Uncle Cliff's house, and I put water in the bathtub. So I got in the bathtub. I was crying like a baby, like a newborn baby, and I stayed so long in the bathtub that the water drained out. So I was wrinkled like a California raisin. True story. And then I had to be truthful to myself.
Right.
And say, and look in the mirror or look at just look at myself, I'm still in the bathtub. The mirror could work for the mirror. And just be very honest and go over how I fucked up. And it was the classic sense of the young filmmaker. For that first film, you overreach. And I forgot one of the words, the many sayings that my grandmother would say. My grandmother put me through college. She lived to be 100 years old. She put me through Morehouse, put me through NYU Film School. She saved up her Social Security checks for 50 years for her grandchildren. I was the firstborn, so I had first dibs. And so she went to college. She went to Spelman College where my mother went, even though her grandmother was a slave, but she still went to college. Think about that. Her grandmother was a slave, yet she was able to go to college. And for 50 years, she taught art. And for 50 years, she never taught one white student because of Jim Crow laws in the state of Georgia. And for 50 years, she saved up a Social Security check for grandchildren's education. And I was the first grandchild. But one of her favorite sayings to me is like, Spiky, she called me Spiky. Even though my mother gave me the nickname, she said, Spiky. Because I be telling her, my grandiose dreams. She always say, I support you, but you got to crawl before you walk. Think about that.
That's right. Wise words.
Crawl before you walk.
Right.
And wrinkle like a California raisin in this empty bathtub, I kept hearing my grandmother's words. And so I said, I'm going to give this, I'm going to try this film one more time. I'm not going to have car chases in the script. The script of the film to get made, car chases, people jumping through roofs. It was a godsend that film got me. I wasn't equipped to do that stunts. It would have been a complete disaster. That would have been the end you ever heard of Spike Lee, if you had heard. Anyway, I said, I had 3 years of film school. I have a master's in fine arts, film production. I should be able to write a script with 3 or 4 people in the room. All the other shit I want to do is going to have to wait. If this film's successful, that shit will come down the line. And she's going to have it.
Right. But it really came out of you being in that bathtub.
Yeah. Right? And also, I got to give credit to Jarmusch for being my hero. And also NYU, because I never seen Rashomon before film school.
Right.
And that was the basis of she's got to have it. Right. Also, I never seen Breathless before. Right. Stylistically, that was, the black and white, the editing. So those 2 films was a big influence on me. For She's Gonna Have It, the first film, the first Spike Lee joint. Kurosawa's Rashomon and Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless. And for anybody out there who has not seen those films, shame on you. Wow. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But
you're an interesting.
You gotta see.
Wow.
I mean, I know some of this stuff is before you were born.
Those are great.
I know. It's some of the stuff in black and white, but great art, not just films. Great art was made before you were born.
That's right.
Facts.
That's right. Facts. The facts that lead on to something else. Nothing is brand new. Nothing is it's reinvented and taken and then reinterpreted, and that's really important.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because starting in such an intimate film, you've gone from all different, genres and stuff, and it's very interesting because you're a big film lover and how you take it and how you make it your own and incorporate it. Even though I've seen films that you reference a lot of times, I don't necessarily see the reference like, in a didactic, way. You just, it's kind of like a part of who you are. You know, that you put it out there.
John, you're a witness to. You're a witness, John, to Charles Lawton's influence of Knight and Hunter.
Right.
With again, that's another film I saw at film school.
Right.
I had never heard of Charles Lawton. I knew Robert Mitchum, but I never heard of that film till film school.
Right.
And when I saw Robert Mitchum as that Jack Lee murderous preacher have hate and love tattooed on his fingers, that clicked right away, because at the time, the style was knuckle rings.
Right.
I said, damn, Ray Raheem's gonna wear that as we love and hate. And then on top of that, we used the sequence, that scene written by James Agee. We changed a couple words, but still the same thing.
Right.
Where I stop, I'm on the way, I'm ready to deliver
some pizza.
A pie. No, not a pizza. A slice from South's Famous, John.
Only a slice you were delivering?
No, the pizza pie. I'm delivering
pizza pie. You're not delivering a slice, man.
I'm wrong. I delivered a pie.
Yes, sir.
Which a lot of times did not get to the customers hot. Sometimes be warm or lukewarm or cold. Mookie was bullshit.
Yeah.
But on the way to deliver that pizza, I run into Ray Raheem, where he gives another great interpretation, the late great Bill Nunn. And hope if you have a great story about Bill Nunn, I would love to hear it. But he gives
one of the gentlest, beautiful souls out there. I mean, you couldn't have had a more like gentle guy, and good sense of humor, and
So he gave his interpretation of Robert Mitchum from Night of the Hunter.
In your films, I guess a lot of people want to know, because you tackle different genres. Do you prepare? I mean, a lot of people asking questions. They want to know how you prepare differently, for each film. If it's more, comedic, if it's more,
Oh, I prepare by what the film is.
Right.
But no matter what the film is, I'm gonna be prepared. Right. Whatever the subject matter, something I don't know, I become a student. Books, films, magazines, speaking to here's the key thing. If you can, it's not always possible, but speaking to the witnesses, there's something you get from, that's one of the reasons why I think what made, for me, Red so strong. Warren Beatty's great film.
I agree with that.
He had the real motherfuckers.
Right.
When you have witnesses, people who see with their own eyes, and not in them hearsay, second, third, like they were there.
Right. They know.
They were there. And like when people are there, you can't tell them a motherfucking thing. It's like, motherfucker was there. Where were you? Like, and that happens to me. Sometimes we say like, they look at me, Spike, you weren't even born. Shut up. I'd be like this. Excuse me, okay.
But that's an interesting thing, in so many of your movies, and not all of them, but a lot of them, because people say, well, he also makes documentaries, but I think you also love to, blend that genre all the time.
Most case would be the Bloods. And so, John, I'm glad you asked that question, because I think sometimes, not all the time, I think sometimes we as artists put handcuffs on ourselves.
Right.
So I didn't want to do it. I'm a filmmaker. So for me, filmmaking is storytelling. So I'm telling the story when I did those commercials with the GOAT.
Right.
Michael Jordan, the GOAT.
The GOAT. I'm not disagreeing.
Not hating on LeBron.
Right.
Love him. But
best
for me,
now.
Everybody got their look. I think Willie Mays is the greatest player ever. All the people gonna say that, you know what they want.
Right.
But we all have, everybody has their own opinion, and for me, I'm a filmmaker. So whether it's was a 30-second commercial Michael Jordan or a short film, I was told to use the term short films by Michael Jackson. He said, Spike, we're not doing music videos, we're doing short films. I'm not trying to personally either. So short films with Public Enemy,
Right.
Michael Jackson, Prince, Miles Davis. I mean, Eminem. These are people that I've done stuff with, or documentaries like Four Little Girls. Well, the two docs on Katrina. And feature films for me is all storytelling. So in my mind, I'm a storyteller. So I don't have to trip about going from a commercial to a feature film to a documentary. It's not like I gotta switch hats.
Right.
I keep the same hat on because it's storytelling.
Right. But within that storytelling, I think you're one of the people, you're quite free. You say, you know what, I'm going to put this in. Here's like a real person talking, and then I'm going to go, back into the fictional narrative.
Yeah.
And I don't, you seem not to be inhibited by like saying, well, no, this has to be just fiction,
Well,
this nonfiction,
Well, my wife tells me, Tanya, sometimes there are discussions.
Right.
Mr. Turturro, well, you know what, baby, I think you went too far. But Tanya's there. Look, it's good, as you know, John. It's good to have somebody there, like, to have frank conversations.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. When those conversations come out of love,
That's different.
it's different.
Right.
Now it ain't love. Like I ain't hearing that.
Yeah, I know that. I know very well. That I know very well.
We both know it.
Yeah.
We both know it.
No, I mean I understand. So talking about that, when you have a disagreement or you see things differently, when you work with writers, for example, right? There's sometimes, when you say, okay, you have your script and then you try it out, you say, well, that doesn't work as good as we thought it did.
You talking about co-writing the script?
Yeah, when you co-write a script and then you hear it out loud, and this is people are interested in your and how you deal with that, and it's not everything you imagined it to be. So I kind of know the answer, but these are people.
I know you got to ask some questions that you know the answer.
No.
But here's the thing, though, and this answer, John, is applicable. You know the word. It applies to whether it's solo authorship or co-writing. The key for me is the read-through.
Right.
With the taking out, hearing the words I might have heard during the words in the scenes that were used for auditioning.
Right.
Leave that out. The read-through is the first time I'm hearing that words by the actors who are going to be in this thing.
Right.
And for me, that's another rewrite right there.
Right.
I'm like, because there's something I've never been able to explain, John. Maybe you can help me. Reading dialogue in your head,
yeah,
and hearing it is completely two different things.
Right.
You could write some, oh man, this is a good line.
Right.
And the read through, like,
plus, it could be a bad reading too. You got to give yourself. Yeah, but I agree with you. Even if you read it,
it's not the actors. It's for me.
Yeah.
It's the writing.
Right. But you've used. I don't know how you do that now, but you've used the read through. You've used rehearsal much more than a lot of modern directors do. You've kind of. I know initially you had like a little laboratory, you know what I mean, that was there, kept playing around. And that's something that obviously is very useful for you.
Very much so. And also, you know why? You know what the biggest reason, John? I didn't come from a theater background.
Right.
So, and then also, 'cause, 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 I understand that we're all working on a job. We all want to do the best we can, but we want to be doing 8-hour motherfucking days. I mean, 12 hours. John, you know what I'm talking about. You've been there, numerous films. Let's hit it. Let's quit it.
Right.
Come to set prepared.
Right.
We're not doing no 3-4 hours in the motherfucking hair and makeup.
Right.
We're not doing that. We're
Well, that's why I like to work with you, man, because you just get on with it.
An hour after call.
Right. Well,
and you need, if you need more than a long time for hair and makeup, then yeah, it's got to come in early.
Right.
You get an early call time. John, we don't play that.
No. Well,
John,
I like living like that because you realize this guy means business. I mean, you continue the Sidney Lumet type of thing. Like we got to get on with it, and we better hit it.
Everybody has lives. Go home.
Yeah.
At a decent hour, have dinner.
Yeah.
And then, John, listen this though. How many days did we have where we're going home at lunchtime, or like, and back in the day,
yeah,
the Knicks were good, and there's a playoff game.
Yes.
People looking at like, I hope the Knicks are home.
Yeah.
They're at the Garden against the Bulls. Oh, we're going home early today.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, John?
Yeah, we would go, man. That's it. I was at a lot of those games.
Woody Allen did the same thing.
Yeah.
On the Woody Allen film, if the Knicks were home in the playoff game,
right. That was it.
You go home early.
Go home early. All right. So let me ask you another question that people are curious about. What happens when you're doing a scene and it's a really, like an example of a difficult scene you have to shoot, and maybe say it's not working, or you have an actor who is really, really resistant to you? What is your advice to these, to people who, are going to face that?
Great question. A lot of that can be avoided if you rehearse. So look, all actors are different, and people are going to react to stuff differently.
Right.
So the point is, and John, I'm gonna give you an example too, because you were there. If there are any problems, they have to be worked out, and they should be worked out in rehearsal and not blow up in front of cast and crew.
Right.
John, you're a witness. The summer of 1988, in Sal's famous pizzeria,
right,
me and Danny Aiello went at it. Randy Fletcher. No, look, God bless Danny, love him. But Danny's talked about some public too, so this ain't a secret.
Right. No, right.
Yeah. Randy Fletcher had to clear the set.
Yep. I was
John, am I lying?
No, I was right. I was there.
The set had to be cleared.
Yeah.
Because it was getting a little tense. And Danny and I we worked it out. Now, I would love if his difficulty with that scene would have happened in rehearsal, but whatever happened, it happened there.
Right.
And the set had to be cleared.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the only time that in that movie.
Yeah. It was all love after that.
Yeah. There was no
until I want to say this, and I'm not bragging, but I was one of the last people to speak to Danny before he left us. We, politically we were like far apart, but me and Danny, we loved each other. We became tighter after the movie.
Right.
So in no way, shape, or form, anybody take this as any other way than love for Danny Aiello.
Yeah. I know we both went to see him, for we spoke together.
Yeah, we spoke his memorial.
Yeah,
it was all love, and the people know.
of everyone talks about music in your movies. I mean, obviously your dad was a musician. You grew up with a lot of music. You just did a musical, David Byrne. I think
Yeah.
maybe we want to do another music. I know that you're a big musical lover.
Yeah.
You're a sports lover, but I know that you love musicals too.
Right. Well,
So
my love of music comes from my father. My
Right.
father's name is Bill Lee, a great jazz bassist, but also a folk bassist. And one time, in the height of the folk era, my father was a top folk bassist. My father played with Bob Dylan, Judy Collins, Peter and Paula Mary, Gordon Lightfoot,
wow.
Theodore Bikel, Josh White. I mean, he was the guy.
Right.
You go look at those albums. My father's playing on those albums. Always forget this album. There's one Bob Dylan album. There's one. I always forget the name. I can see the picture of the album cover, but there's one album where, with the exception of Bob Dylan, my father's the only other musician on it.
Right.
The whole album. So a thing happened when Bob Dylan, and I also like to say, so my father's the top folk bassist, so he's making money. So my late mother doesn't have to work. She's going to Lord and Taylor and Bloomingdale's to shop and stuff. My father's making money. Bob Dylan goes electric. Everybody goes electric. They want to hire my father, but my father to this day has never played Fender bass. He refused to play electric bass.
Hmm.
So at this time, my father had 5 children. So my mother had to work. She started to teach at St. Anne's.
Right. She's one of the first
teachers.
One of the first teachers at St. Anne's. Right.
Yeah, St. Anne's under the great Stanley Bosworth. So my mother had to teach. So anybody's that's seen Crooklyn, Alfie
Right.
Werder is playing my mother.
Right.
And Delroy is playing my father. And it was rough. I mean, my mother was trying to, God bless her. After working all day, coming home, the mark up papers, she had to cook and clean. And he was not playing electric bass. So as I've grown up, as I've gotten older, understood like he had principles. He was not going to play, he's a jazz bassist. He was not going to play any electric instrument or be involved in any electric instrument. He called it tone as is. My father's still alive. But on the other hand, I knew the hardship my mother was going through because she was the breadwinner.
Right.
And in fact, that's where, I originally, Crooklyn, my siblings, Sankey and Joie, wrote that script. The original script was called Hot Peas and Butter. They brought it to me, we wrote it together, and I renamed it Crooklyn. But Crooklyn is the Lee family growing up in Brooklyn, Fort Greene. My mother was a visionary. We, John, you know this, so we were the first Black family in Cobble Hill, Brooklyn. Cobble Hill is right by the water where the docks are. And traditionally, the docks were Italian American. So people walk to work they can walk 2, 3, 4 blocks from Cobble Hill, go to the docks. So the Lees were the first Black family in Cobble Hill. So that is why Italian Americans, as yourself, I grew up with them. Like Daniela said, in Do the Right Thing, I love these people. They grew up by pizza. It's not the same thing, but anyway.
Right.
So my mother, being a visionary, said, you know what? I'm tired of paying rent. I want to own she said, I always want to own a brownstone. So we bought our brownstone where my father still is in 1960 at Fort Greene for $45,000.
$45,000.
Back then, real estate brokers would even say, they would even use the name Fort Greene. They would say downtown vicinity. And back then, Murder Avenue, excuse me, back then, John, it wasn't called Myrtle Avenue. It was called Murder Avenue.
Murder Avenue. Yeah.
So I've seen in my where I'm right here, we're in Fort Greene. So I've seen the neighborhood change, but from my father, I got my love of music, and also, if you believe in something,
right,
you gotta stay with it.
Yeah. Well, you've had.
But here's the thing, though. I'm a product of my mother and my father, not just either one.
Yeah.
So it might be opposite, but they came together, on me.
Right. That's right. So.
I live in Manhattan now. Oh, here's another thing.
That's okay.
So people ask me, why did I leave my beloved Brooklyn? Well, everybody in the public of Brooklyn knew where I lived.
Right.
Because I bought a brownstone on Washington Park, but between Willoughby and DeKalb. I grew up on Washington Park between Willoughby and Myrtle. Everybody in Brooklyn knew where I lived. And at the time, we just had Tanya. At the time, Tanya just had her first daughter, Satchel.
Right.
And people were ringing the bell 3, 4 in the morning. A lot of times, I'm out of town. And finally, my Tanya said, look, you have to make a choice. And you know how Tanya looks, John. She said, you have to make a choice, Spike. You have a daughter that's 7 months old and your wife, or Brooklyn. Make a choice. And a lot of times the people ringing the bell, they even know me. They don't know me. My Tanya will answer the intercoms. Who is this? Whatever crazy name. Is Spike here? Spike's not here. How do you know Spike? Well, my second cousin was in kindergarten with him.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the type of it was.
Yeah.
So I had to move. But the office is still in Fort Greene.
Right.
At first, John, it used to be the firehouse.
Right.
The firehouse, the old firehouse across the street directly from Brooklyn Hospital.
Right.
Where my mother died. And also my brother,
you
right there across. So I passed Brooklyn Hospital every day. And during the height of the COVID, not COVID-19, but in the hood, they call it that 19, that Rona. During the height, they had to get 2 refrigerator trucks, John.
I know.
During the height of, people here in New York, that was crazy, that episode. Right. I know we got a little off track.
That's all right. No. Wait, I was just going to ask
you. To answer your question, my love of musicals comes from my love of music and my late mother taking me to see musicals.
Right. I know that there's been lots of projects that you wanted to do over the years, and that you had full scripts for, good scripts, big scripts, and you didn't get a chance to do that. And maybe one other person did it, but is there one person did it? But is there one that you felt like that you still feel like, what, I really want to do this film someday,
Well, let me answer. Before I get that answer, I'll give you another answer first, a quick answer. During the height of the pandemic here in New York City, when New York City was the epicenter,
right,
I had a lot of time to myself, a lot of time to reflect, John, and reflect not only about my life, the world, my family, but also about my past and the heartbreaks too. And one of the biggest heartbreaks was not getting to do Jackie Robinson. And thinking about that, I released the script for that on Instagram, the script. The other, I'm not gonna call it heartbreak. I'll just call it a pause. One of my dear friends became Bud Schulberg,
Right.
one of the great writers of all time. People don't notice, but Bud Schulberg is in the Boxing Hall of Fame as a writer. Bud wrote the phenomenal novel, What Makes Sammy Run.
Mhm.
Also wrote one of my favorite films, On the Waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of my favorite films that came right after that was A Face in the Crowd.
Right.
And Bud is a boxing aficionado. And we became very good friends. And we co-wrote a script called Save Us, Joe Louis,
Right.
about the friendship between Joe Louis and Max Schmeling, two heavyweight champs. Bud was at both fights in Yankee
Right.
Stadium. And I really believe this, John, because Bud died like he was 98. What kept him going alive for the last 2 years of his life was the hope that we would get this film made. He would call me periodically. Spike, have you gotten the money yet? Spike, have you gotten the money yet? I mean, he wasn't bugging me. It's just that was his enthusiasm.
Right.
He wanted to get this film done before he left us in his physical sense. And I made a promise to Bud. I'm going to keep that promise. You ever read the script?
Yep. I know a lot about the
Epic.
subject matter, and that's why I brought it up. So I'm
Epic.
not going to give it away, but yeah.
Epic.
It's a great story. It's a great story. It was a seminal event.
You're a boxing aficionado yourself.
Yeah. So no, that's why I brought it up. I wanted you to speak about those things because I think people imagine you now that you were this trailblazer. You had all this success, and it's been this straight, linear upward trajectory. And I don't think people realize, the ups and the twists and turns and the ups and downs and
I'll be the first person to tell anybody that, a lot of people not liked a lot of my films, and I'm okay with that. I think that as artists, you do the best you can.
Right.
Your art is like your child. Go out into the world, and you can't control how people are gonna react, to your art. So, I'm always like, on to the next. Let's
but
go.
You're like Sugar Ray Robinson, because when he lost the middleweight championship, then he would come back and he would regain it. He did it like 5 times. So you have
that would be, you know what? Look, I'm gonna do this Joe Louis film, Max Schmeling, but the Sugar Ray Robinson. Oh, that film! Woo, Lord!
Wow, he was the best.
That's another one.
He was like, one of the. I mean, that's another thing that you're very, interested in. But you haven't really made that many. You made Malcolm X, basically, right? I mean, which I know.
That's really like the only biopic.
Right.
No, I mean, Black Klansman a little bit.
A little bit, right.
But it's not, yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you about a film that now everyone talks about. And I remember seeing a rough cut of, because I always see your rough cuts.
If you're available, you're on the list.
Yeah, I always come.
Let me see if John's gonna,
Yeah.
Because the thing about you, John, even though we're friends, we love each other. If there's something, you not hold back. I love you for that.
Well, you just
try to say, Spike, come here. You're Spike. I'll call. Yeah. Oh, hear what you say is.
Yeah.
I'll call you when I get home.
Yeah.
Ring. All right, John. What is it?
Oh, that's what friends are for.
Yeah, John. Swear to God, I'm on the phone. I'm writing that down.
Okay. Well,
I'm writing that. I write your notes down, and the next day in the editing room, we're implementing your notes. And I say, My man, John Turturro, has his note. Let me see the cut. All right, that's good. Oh, I like that. All right, we're doing that.
Well, I wanted to just ask you about, because I've read about it so many times right now, like people have like valued all of a sudden or looked at it again in a different way. And when it came out, it bypassed everybody, which was Bamboozled. And I remember seeing that movie, and I remember, the whole big blackface sequence that you had. And I just that's like something that like I never forgot. I mean, I'm not saying that to blow smoke up your bum, you know what I mean? That was like just
John.
I was thinking this is one of the biggest things that
John, me and you always keep it 100. You don't have to say that. We keep 100.
So, but and I remember like that the appreciation wasn't, the love wasn't
People
great.
hated that film.
Right. And now people are saying if they could make a movie as good as Bamboozled, it's on, I know it's on Criterion and maybe people are watching it again, but you took a subject matter that was like the biggest thing in America. I mean, people, it was like the biggest form of entertainment in America. And
minstrel shows.
And it still has affected entertainment, forever, from that time. I mean, until now. And I think does that bring you now? Do you say, oh, well, now they got it? Now, does that bring you any? I just was curious.
And that's a very good question. I'm not gloating.
Right.
Look, people, but John, I'm going to give you, we could say the same thing about Do the Right Thing, John. Joe Klein.
Oh, I
David
don't think
Debbie.
so.
They said this film wrote articles that this film was going to incite African Americans to riot.
Right.
They were telling the white readers, hope to God this film doesn't open up in your neighborhood.
That's right.
Blood is going to be in my hands.
Right. Listen, I never forget.
I was used to that. That was 1989.
Right.
And then, I didn't get no consideration from the DGA. Peace and love. That was a long time ago. You guys weren't around.
Right.
The Oscars.
Yeah.
We got nominated. I got for best original screenplay, and the late great Daniello for.
We didn't get best picture, best director.
Here's the thing, though. And Danny was great, but when I saw Glory and Denzel has that scene where he's being whipped,
you knew
that tear comes down his eye. I was like, it's over. John, not OVR, OVAH, over.
So.
And then even bigger than that, John. What won Best Picture?
Driving Miss Daisy.
Driving Miss Daisy. So
what were the other nominees that I don't remember. No, but anyway, well.
All I know is what won.
Yeah. Well, what won isn't what was remembered. Isn't that? I mean, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
You can see in the obituary this won this, but your film, people are talking about it right now.
And Do the Right Thing is like, as I used to say, torn from today's headlines.
Right.
I wrote this film in 88, came out 89.
But what? Here's something I want to throw at you. I think it's underestimated in your work, actually, is that your sense of humor in a lot of films is paramount to even the dramatic part of the story. And I really feel it's vastly underrated because, like, Do the Right Thing, when you watch it, you're laughing your ass off to
Funny
a certain
AF.
point, and then you stop, and you're like, oh, that maybe So is that something that, that's, I think, really important in your work, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but here's the thing. In film school, I saw network. I mean, let's talk Lumet. You just said Lumet. Sydney. Serpico's a funny movie. Dog Afternoon is funny.
That's right.
Network, oh my God. I mean, Tchaikovsky's script. And I did not make this up, John. There's always been great films that had very serious subject matter and humor. But here's the key. Everybody's listening to this, especially young filmmakers. With humor and serious subject matter, you have to get the right balance.
Right.
Because it tips over one way, tips over the other way, you're sunk.
Right.
So, and that's something I really try to get better to get, because, and that's not saying, oh, I do it because I want to put a little,
No, it's natural for you.
spoonful of, what was that? A spoonful of sugar makes Mary Poppins.
No, I think you like the juxtaposition, the contradiction.
There you go.
You know, you love the contradiction of that stuff. And you know how people, I mean, you were talking about cultural appropriation a long time ago. You know, you just didn't use the word for it, but you were like, you're talking about things that, I think like now when people say, well, we got to have these conversations. And you were actually, kind of putting that out on the table in a way
John, you were there right.
I've been in the middle of it.
Because we had rehearsals talking about the script. You were not crawled up in the corner.
No,
When you saw something that I want people to hear this.
Right.
Not just do the right thing, but any film we did. If you had a thought that could make the scene, the dialogue, whatever it was, you say it. And the thing about it, you knew that you had the green light because it's coming from a place of love. Look, like we're here. If we got it, I wasn't gonna be like, I gotta dot every T or I'm like, yo, we're trying to win. And if anybody can contribute, I'm, thank
you're one of the only directors who.
Thank you for that note. Let's go.
Yeah. You're one of the only directors that, when you were writing, I remember this when you were writing Jungle Fever, you came over my house and you interviewed me because you knew I grew up. Like we're the same age, and I grew up like in a black neighborhood, and you grew up, with these Italians, and you wanted to know about all my experiences and my interracial relationships, and so I talked to you, and you had it transcribed. It was like 55 pages, but it was all like really personal stuff, and I felt like, it was so easy for us by then because we had done a couple of movies together and been through all kinds of stuff, Mo Better Blues, all kinds
no better.
But I've had a very interesting, perspective. But that was like really rare. I remember that conversation, and I was like, wow, use whatever you want to use. I don't really, and that's another underrated movie too.
Yeah. And I want to thank you for being open. Look, I would have been cool if you said, Spike, you know what? I don't want to tell you that, but you did, so thank you. Well, what was would you have some of my favorite scenes in Jungle Fever, John, is the candy store. That's
I love
Did you vote? Yeah, I vote. Rudy.
Well, that came out of a lot of rehearsals.
Let's name there. Who was there?
My brother Nicholas, Michael Badalucco, Steve Renzato,
Oh man.
The little guy Joey, you forget his name, Renzato. Yeah. We had a great time in the rehearsal of that whole thing. It was that was a really fun. And we got to work with Anthony Quinn too, so that was.
as you know, I don't know if you know this, but I have a picture of you and Anthony Quinn that you both signed. That's
Yeah,
on
I
the
have it
wall
too.
here.
I have it too.
Yeah.
He was really fun. It was fun. I mean, the guy worked with everybody.
He had you had to be disciplined because I would just stay talking to him while we had to shoot because he had stories.
My God. Yeah,
and he worked with everybody.
Everybody. Worked from like James Cagney to Fellini to, David Lee.
And also, John, he worked with a lot of actresses too.
Oh my God. He shared a lot of intimacies. He said to me, well, Johnny, I can tell you everything. Is it because you're not my real son? You know what I mean? I can tell you whatever, everything. And I was like, whoa, man, this guy had a lot of experiences.
Woo, Lord.
Yeah. Well, that was really.
He could tell a story, though. He could tell a story.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he could. He was really. So are we winding down now? Are they telling us to?
Yeah, I think they got us on the clock now.
On 5 minutes. So you want to So let's just talk about your last movie that you did, just for a couple of minutes.
Well, I would just like to say, Chadwick, Tanya, my wife and I, we had seen the film numerous times, but we looked at it again after Chadwick left us in his physical sense, and it was great, but looking at it now, it just takes it a whole level because part of the film he's playing the ghost anyway.
Right.
And this is my belief. I don't have any. I didn't look. First of all, I didn't know he was sick.
Right.
I didn't know.
Right.
And I think he thought this was gonna be his last film. But God gave him one more, Ma Rainey.
Ma Rainey, yeah.
Directed by George Wolfe.
Right.
Which is coming out. So I'm produced by Denzel Washington.
Right.
So, and I love the Broadway play, August Wilson.
Right. Me too.
So he got another film in, and God bless him.
Oh,
Chadwick.
Beautiful actor. Yeah, I never got to meet him in person, but he seemed like a really beautiful person.
And then I would like to end, John, on our friend Thomas Jefferson Byrd.
He was in
Errol Barnes and
Clockers.
Honeycut and Bamboozle, Sweetness. He Got Game. I mean, for those who don't know, Thomas Jefferson Byrd, great actor, was murdered like 2 weeks ago in Atlanta, Georgia. They found the murderer, but shot in the back. I mean, just horrible. And we got to do something about these guns. I mean, these guns are out of control.
Absolutely.
So everyone, I want to thank you for joining this intimate conversation between two guys who love each other And I think that you heard two artists that respect for each other, love each other, and love what we do. And everybody wear a mask, go out and vote, be safe, and two fingers, peace.
Love you.
John, love you, baby.
I'll see you soon. See you back in New York.
Yeah, be safe, be safe. See you back, okay?
All right.
Bye,
take care.
Later.
Love
Bye-bye.
to the family.
That wraps up this exclusive discussion with Spike Lee. If you'd like to hear more from the Craft of the Director series, check out episode 265, which features director Ang Lee discussing his extensive filmography, or visit our YouTube page to find discussions with David O. Russell, Leslie Linka Glatter, and Guillermo del Toro. The Director's Cut is available wherever you get your podcasts. Also, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow film buffs find the show. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally